Morning. Today is Friday, July 3rd. We are using the Arc Animal Tarot, an oracle card deck by Bernadette King, art by Heidi Sutherlin. About to celebrate July 4th here in the United States. Independence Day, indeed. Happy birthday, America. To an ideal. Camel. Page of Pentacles. Conserving energy, indeed. That's one of the qualifiers on that card. It is very hot here in the northeast of North America. Conserving energy, moving at the pace of what is real. Stag, the Hierophant, big business, tradition, spirituality. So again, the Hierophant comes second day in a row. Different deck. The Snake, the Tower, shocking change, transformation, liberation. Yes, Independence Day indeed. Told you the Tower has been coming up. Here's one other card. Black Panther, Queen of Wands, intense love of life, determination, altruism. You know, interesting. I never thought about altruism being an attribute of that card. Rabbit, Seven of Pentacles, reaping what is sown. And also waiting, constancy, perspective. So Camel, Page of Pentacles, always a card of learning, and like I said, like working, a camel can go for miles and miles and miles and miles, and it without going for water. But in order to do that, the camel is well prepared. The camel is also well suited for its environment. So. And they can get nasty because, they're only going to go at the pace that they know is accurately going on. So to assess and to move forward and take a moment to learn about reality. Remember, Pentacles is reality. Pentacles is material, what's happening on the 3D, and the page is information. It's information about the various things that we can learn about. And maybe we do have more to learn about how to, we have more to learn. It's also, it's information, it's communication. Remember, Mercury is in retrograde. I've talked about that a lot. It's not something to fear, but it is something to learn from. And in the sign of Cancer, Mercury is an air element. So air is not going to move. Air is going to move on top of the water, but Mercury is going for a deep dive. So the oxygen is a necessary part of the water. So what is that air? What is that? What are the bubbles that you see? What are the bubbles that you see coming up through the water? Pay attention to those bubbles. But it takes time. If we go too fast, we're going to disturb them unnecessarily or create more bubbles than are necessary. I don't know where I got that imagery from, but there we are. The Stag, the Hierophant, big business, tradition, spirituality. We've got two major arcana. This one came up. I told you the Tower has come up in different readings this week. And so spirituality, anchoring on spirituality, taking the time to, figure out what it is that we're devoted to, and realizing that during the time when there doesn't seem to be a lot of action, when we do have to take our time, anchoring on, in order to not create more bubbles and more agitation than is necessary, recognizing what the agitation is, create sacred time, create sacred space to create better understanding, because the tower is here as well. And to work with a tower moment, some structure is coming down. So the stag, the Hierophant, is all about established structure, establishment. So one thing that came up for me today before I did this reading was I had the opportunity to go to a service, and actually, what was a better call for me was to be at home and do the practices that I do that are supportive of the type of faith that was on offer at this service. And it was an interfaith service to celebrate that, America is actually founded on various perspectives. And that's what we actually need to go because people wanted, to be respected for their different perspectives. They wanted to go to a place where they could build something that would, be a place of respect for all, not just some. And that's not what America is like today. That is not. And one must be real about that. One must be real about that information. All right, that's the reality. So what are the messages? How can we change it? So the establishment is coming down because a lot of people recognize that that's not real. That's not true. And they're looking for ways to, get back to that core, get back to those basics, get back to that spirituality, that, that spirit, the spirit of what, the essence of what the foundation was. Stag is about foundation. So things have come, the communication breakdown has occurred a long time ago. That's the tower. And, but how do we have to realize that the messages come from a variety of different places, not just one megaphone and not just one way. So, transformation, liberation, big business, tradition. So, the traditions that we value, why do we value them? Get really basic, get a good understanding of why that is. Let's understand why. Let's go back to basics. Let's go back to school about this. And realize that messages come from all kinds of different places. A lot of people ask me why I read tarot cards when I basically am, celebrate my faith through the Christ consciousness, Christianity. These are not the devil. They're an invitation to consider. They're an invitation to consider and meditate different ways of meditating on the various ways that God consciousness, higher wisdom, what our higher wisdom responds to. Everybody responds to different things. This is what I'm guided to share. I meditate. These give me an opportunity to meditate in a way that other traditional kinds of voices did not offer. And I now have a broader experience of God consciousness, of the Christ consciousness, of what it is to walk and love and be altruistic, truly altruistic, like actually walk that talk, not just in a building, not just hear it with my ears, but actually walk my talk. Am I good at it? No, I'm practicing all the time. I'm changing my traditions. I'm exploring, and I try to stay with that open heart that a Queen of Wands would absolutely do. Like how do I do this? It's a constant practice, and it takes risks. Like she takes risks in order to find a creative and honest way of showing up each and every day, going for what she wants in a way that is loving and respectful and altruistic. Intense love of life, determination. Yeah, I mean, I hope, like the reading that showed up yesterday, what's the determination? Sometimes it takes constancy, when things are going really, really slow, what's the conviction, that you have that's underlying it all the time to keep going for what it is, even when things are a little scarce, even when things are falling apart. What's the conviction to keep going for the essence of what it is that you believe? I'm going to leave it at that. Like, share, subscribe. This is going to be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. It's a message for the collective. If you want your own private reading, I'm happy to do that for you. Just direct message me on any of those platforms and we can set something up. Just any of that interaction, liking, sharing, subscribing, gets us in front of people who need to hear it, or directly share it to somebody who needs to hear it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.